Just ahead on CTV News. Health officials are warning residents after an elderly Maryland man becomes the first heat-related death of the year. And a morning fire leaves a local family displaced. Plus, Kilmar Abrego Garcia is asking a federal judge to block the Trump administration from another unwanted deportation. These stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. It is May 29th. Welcome to CTV News. I'm Brandon Williams.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. We start tonight off with some breaking news. Maryland has reported its first heat-related death of 2026. Health officials say it was an adult male in Calvert County. They say he was between 70 and 80 years old. Secretary of Health Dr. Meena Shahmani wants to remind residents to protect themselves against the heat and to check on those who may be vulnerable to it. In 2025, Maryland had 36 heat-related deaths. Maryland can call 211 or contact their local health departments to find nearby cooling centers.
And the county's fire department is investigating a brutal house fire that happened this morning. This was the scene around 11 a.m. at the 200 block of Mountain View Court in Peppermill Village. Flames and smoke were seen coming out of the back of a home and extending to the roof, eventually creating a two-story split. Luckily, everyone made it out unharmed. The cause of the fire has yet to be released.
And the Prince George's County Council has approved the budget for fiscal year 27. The $6 billion budget put a lot towards education, public safety, and investments in services that are essential to residents. According to county officials, the budget does not increase taxes and doesn't involve any major cuts. Council Chair Crystal Oriatha says while the approval of the budget took a while, it will be used to enhance the quality of life for the county.
Some wins that we already talked about around the child care scholarship, $2 million for the first time, actually funding the rental assistance program that we passed in the first year at $1 million, money for Black maternal health, for kids on the spectrum, additional money for the Providers Council at $2.4 million. So we were able to do all of that, but also making sure that we didn't add additional revenue. So we're really excited about the budget and what we were able to accomplish today. We want to be fiscally responsible, like across all budgets, even parking plan. They presented a proposed budget that was higher. We reduced it while also increasing services.
And the budget is set to take effect July 1st, and it also includes funding for autism inclusive recreation programming, Missing Black Girls campaign, and a family justice center.
And speaking of budgets, Bowie State University is working to address its budget deficit. President Dr. Aminta Breaux is working to get Maryland's oldest HBCU on firmer financial footing as it faces an $18 million deficit. As a result of this, she has had to lay off 26 employees and eliminate over 50 vacant positions, according to the Washington Business Journal. The deficit is due to multiple things like declining enrollment, drops in funding, infrastructure, and technology investments. Despite having just received millions in donations and fundraising, Dr. Breaux says those funds will be put towards building endowment and closing financial gaps for students.
New research from Children's National Hospital and the National Institutes of Health is providing new insight into COVID-19 and how it continues to impact children over time. The pediatric COVID outcome study tracked hundreds of children and adolescents, finding some who had COVID-19 reported symptoms like headaches, fatigue, memory issues, stomach problems, and respiratory concerns months after infection. Researchers also found the pandemic took a toll on mental health for all children, not just those infected with the virus. But there are some reassuring news. The study found no evidence of long-term heart damage, in children who had COVID-19. And the Maryland man wrongfully deported to El Salvador is asking a federal judge to block the Trump administration from removing him to any country other than Costa Rica. Kilmar Abrego Garcia filed the request after a federal judge in Tennessee dismissed human smuggling charges against him, calling the prosecution vindictive and selective. Abrego Garcia says Costa Rica has agreed to accept him as a refugee, but his attorneys argue the government is attempting to send him to other countries, despite court rulings that his deportation to El Salvador was illegal. The case continues in federal court in Maryland.
Meanwhile, the families of multiple construction workers who were killed in the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse have settled their cases against the Dolly cargo ship. This comes just days before a civil trial was set to begin. Notices of the settlement were filed in the U.S. District Court, but the details of the settlement were not included in the filings. The attorney for the lone survivor of the collapse said his client has also settled with Grace Ocean and Synergy, who is the owner of the Dolly cargo ship. Maryland is cutting ties with one of the nation's biggest bond rating agencies. The state is dumping Moody's 1 year after the rating giant stripped Maryland of its coveted AAA credit rating. The move comes just days before Maryland heads to market with an $800 million bond sale. State Treasurer Derek Davis says Maryland will rely on ratings from Fitch, Standard & Poor's, and Kroll, all of which gave the bonds a AAA rating. Davis calls the breakup with Moody's a result of a toxic relationship and says investors remain confident in Maryland's financial future. You're watching CTV News. I'm Brandon Williams.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Still to come, did you know composting in Maryland diverts thousands of tons of organic waste from landfills?
I did not know that, but up next, hear how one local facility is educating county residents while making the earth greener every day. We'll be back in a moment.
I just knew that I wasn't the high-performing person I used to be. Pieces of my past are being erased. I was lucky. We caught this at the very earliest stages. I hope that my story can give other people hope. There is life to be lived. Increasingly, there will be treatments. We need to invest even more in research and finding treatments and cures. If your loved one or you yourself are sitting there thinking, something is wrong, I'm not who I used to be, you can get some answers and you can get them for free.
Welcome back. The winning word was bromocriptine. Bromocriptine.
It's a drug that mimics dopamine, and for one California teenager, it delivered a real-life dopamine hit. 14-year-old Trey Perique of Rancho Cucamonga is the 2026 Scripps National Spelling Bee champion. Perique outlasted a field of 247 spellers from across the United States and several other countries.
And that was before facing 12-year-old Ishan Gupta of New Jersey in a lightning-fast spell-off. In just 90 seconds, Perique correctly spelled 32 words, a spell-off record to claim the title.
Bromocriptine. BROMOCRIPTINE.
And what about that spell off? Was this something you really practiced hard for before, or was just you sort of thought, I've got to nail this down as well?
So, I mean, it's not something I like explicitly practice for a lot, but I did do a few spell offs coming up in these past few weeks, and spelling fast is what I do every day, so, a spell off just kind of came naturally, and it was just like another day of spelling for me.
Along with the championship trophy, Perique takes home $52,500 in cash. Reference works from Encyclopedia Britannica and Merriam-Webster.
That's a lot of money, as well as a commemorative medal, $1,000 in Delta Airlines flight credits, and a trip to Universal Studio Resorts. I've been to that place, and he definitely earned it.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time spelling receive, receipt, things of that nature.
Yeah, I think the thing that trips people a lot is there, and there.
Yes, absolutely.
Easy ones to get tripped up on.
Good luck to them, or congrats to them.
Yes.
All right, Maryland education leaders are approving new goals to boost student achievement under the blueprint for Maryland's future. The new metrics focus on improving kindergarten readiness in literacy and math, along with making sure students meet college and career readiness standards by the end of 10th grade. State officials also discussed plans to create a new school rating system, replacing the current 1 to 4 star model with a more well-rounded approach.
And in honor of National Composting Day, more than 24 people came to the county's composting facility to get a tour. Before the tour started, though, everyone got a crash course lesson on the residential composting program and learned what they can do what they can and cannot put in the composting bin. Currently, Prince George's County, you're allowed to put yard waste and food scraps in the bin. Randolph Wilson with the Department of the Environment said it's important for residents to learn firsthand where the materials come from and what takes place at the composting facility.
So to be able to get the word out through various platforms, whether it be OCR, Office of Community Relations, through the Department of the Environment, through platforms like this, we're able to go ahead and, advertise and promote. It's extremely key, because if the residents don't know, then how are they going to be able to participate?
And officials say if you have any questions or concerns, you can always call PGC 311.
Councilwoman Shayla Adams Stafford is working to ensure people who live in her district are not food insecure. She spearheaded the Fairmont 5 District Market, which opened yesterday. The market is located inside the Fairmont Heights Library and allows up to 200 families to come once a week to get free groceries. The market is a partnership between Gooder, a hunger relief company, and the Prince George's County Memorial Library System. The goal of the market is to reduce the stigma associated with free food distributions.
When we were out talking to people here in the Fairmont Heights community, connecting with community members, this was one of the biggest issues. It was heartbreaking to hear seniors talking about taking their Meals on Wheels and splitting it in half for the week. That really touched me. And I told Alexis as soon as I got into office that we needed to do something to address food insecurity in areas that are considered food deserts.
And another free market will be coming to District 7 in the coming weeks. And 4 churches will be ditching their traditional Sunday service this weekend for a day of community outreach. Greater St. John Cathedral, Christ's Way Cathedral, Antioch Baptist Church, and the Sanctuary at Kingdom Square will host the Be the Church Sunday event this Sunday, May 31st. 1,200 volunteers across all 4 churches will be working on community-based projects that will impact 60,000 people. There will be free gas at nearby gas stations, meals for needy families, and cancer care and hygiene kits, among other things.
We're also going to be at a gas station. Yeah. We're going to be at the 7-Eleven right here on 301, right by Crane Highway. And finally, this one touches my heart. We're going to the Forestville Nursing Home. We're going to spend time with people who are in the nursing home, who may not have families that visit them much. They may not have friends who visit them much, but we're going to take our church community to them. We're going to pray for them. We're going to talk to them. We're going to sing with them. We're just going to give them a sense of joy and a sense of love.
Afterwards, a Community Impact Festival will take place at Montpelier Farm at 11 a.m. For more details, visit the website right there on your screen.
Earlier this week, County Executive Aisha Braveboy, in partnership with Eagle Sports Holdings, announced the World Cup Festival coming to the county. The free 2-day event is scheduled to happen in June, exposing Prince Georgians to the global impact the sport of soccer has. Residents will even get a chance to watch Team USA take on Paraguay on a jumbo screen at the Sports and Learning Complex. Braveboy took to the podium to share why having this event in the DMV is so important.
Because what we do know is that we are a very diverse, probably the most diverse county in the state of Maryland and one of the most in the country. And so there's someone celebrating somewhere that, the World Cup is happening in their home country, but they live here. And that's very, very meaningful. So I expect that we will continue to work with Eagle Sports to celebrate the World Cup in years to come. But also I'm looking forward to growing that sport in Prince George's County.
The free 2-day event starts on June 12th and also happening on the 13th. Youth can take place in a youth tournament, and Braveboy also shared she hopes to continue helping to grow the sport in the DMV. And still to come on CTV News, we continue our exclusive interviews covering the County Council District 9 race.
After the break, I sit down with candidate Leslie Dwight. You don't want to miss it.
Together, we build. Yes, those, but not just those. We're here, and also here, and most definitely here. Together, we can build affordability, opportunity, joy. Home is a foundation, a launch pad, where we can focus on what matters most. Habitat for Humanity has helped tens of millions of people around the world build their lives on their own terms. But we have so much more to do. Because 1 in 3 people on Earth still don't have a safe, affordable home. We believe everyone deserves a place to call home. Will it be easy? No. But we're not afraid of getting our hands dirty and doing the hard work. But we can't do it alone. We need you. Because all of this starts with home. And home starts with you.
We are now 25 days away from the 2026 primary elections, and in the next coming week, CTV News will continue to bring you exclusive interviews with candidates. Today, we welcome a candidate running for the County Council District 9 seat, Ms. Leslie Dwight. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself for those who may not know who you are and your background and why you're running for District 9.
Sure. My name is Leslie Dwight. I am a lifelong Prince George's County resident. I've lived in District 9 for almost 20 years now. I am a mom raising a toddler, a little 3-year-old here, and so I've been serving in community for a very long time. I'm the Minister of Social Justice at Community of Hope AME Church, and I'm running for such a time as this. I love my community and I love District 9. Every Saturday, my daughter and I go to the local farmers market in District 9, and I think that it's a place that really centers and highlights the gem of District 9, which is agritourism. When we go, my daughter is engaged with the vendors and she's learning different things about the plants and how the different bakery pieces are made. But I think one of the most beautiful things that comes out about this gem is that, there's one farmer that grows a specific product. The next farmer takes that and turns it into jellies. The next farmer takes that and turns it into a baked good. And so there's this community, it's this ecosystem of connectedness that happens in District 9 that I think could spur economic development here. And so I think that I understand how District 9 can flourish in a way that many residents just don't know about.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of issues, happening in District 9, but tell us a little bit about your top priorities.
Sure. So one of the things that I center my campaign on is really making sure that public safety is resourced properly. When we talk about economic development and we talk about infrastructure, one of the things that's missing in that conversation is the expansion of human resources. And so what we know for sure is that District 9 does not have enough officers to serve its residents. We cover a large, vast area of land in Prince George's County. And when it comes to our police officers, when it comes to our fire EMS, when it comes to corrections, we simply don't have enough officers to meet the need of community. So that's my first priority. My second really centers around education. And while County Council does not make policy for education, we do fund it. And so we do have some sort of oversight about what happens in our public school systems. We invest $3 billion into our public school systems. And one of the challenges is that I'm hearing from parents, I'm hearing from residents, that $3 billion isn't trickling down to our classrooms. The last thing that I'm making a priority is making sure that, our small businesses can thrive in Prince George's County. I gave you a great example with the farmers market, but there are a lot of barriers that exist for our small businesses to be able to be sustained inside of our communities. And so I'm running to help make a difference in those 3 areas.
And speaking on the budget and, them funding education, the County Council passed the budget earlier this week. Their top priorities was education and public safety. Do you agree with how the County Council, formulated their budget? And if you were on the council, how would you have changed it or made it different?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think it's not so much about budget formulation as much as it is about budget execution, right? And so that when it comes to public safety, I'm not going to say whether they did it right or wrong. What I am going to say is that they have not done a study in a long time to say how many officers we actually need to make our community safe. And if we don't have that data, how can we make informed decisions about where resources go to make our community safer? When it comes to education, I think the same data is lacking. I have a nephew right now who is in a classroom where he's using his Chromebook from elementary school and he's getting ready to graduate high school. Where does that come into play in terms of the budget decision? It's not about formulation, it's about execution.
And speaking about, affordability, affordability is going up in the county and housing costs are increasing. If you were on the board, what would you do order to make a change in housing costs?
Sure. I would keep championing the things that I've already started doing. So one of the things that I did was I championed rent stabilization. We had a senior apartment building in Upper Marlboro in District 9 where our seniors, they were experiencing rent hikes as much as $800 in 1 month. Imagine having to make a decision between whether you're going to pay your rent and whether you're going to be able to afford your medicine or being able to put food on the table. And because of the organizing work that I did with that community, bringing media attention to them, bringing nonprofit partners to the table to help them transport them down to county council to be able to testify, we were able to pass rent stabilization. There's still work to be done there, but that's an example of how I champion affordability at a time before this broad conversation about affordability even became popular.
And if you were elected, how would your leadership style differ from incumbent Sidney Harrison?
So I model my leadership style after servant leadership. I only know one way. I spent almost 10 years working in Prince George's County government, and even then, I never sat behind a desk. I was always boots on the ground in community, walking with community. What I understood then, and I still understand now, is that I can't make decisions if I don't hear the voices of the people. I can't carry the voices of the people if I'm not walking with them. And so I bring a style of leadership that stays engaged and that doesn't wait for my constituents to come talk to me, but I'm consistently going to talk to them.
Gotcha. And lastly, what sets you apart from other candidates in this race?
So the one thing that I think sets me apart is this is a time where we are looking for people who have experience. I'm the only one in this race that has actually worked for county government. I worked in the budget office where I developed and I defended those budgets before county council. I've helped to move policy on the state and local level. I've been in community for well over 20 years, whether wearing different hats, whether it's my clergy hat or whether it's just using my knowledge from county government to make a difference in community. I've done that work. It's been the summation of my experience, lived and professional, that has prepared me for a role like this.
Thank you so much, Leslie.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, make sure you tune in on Monday as we introduce another candidate, Mr. Imara Crooms. To look back on some of our exclusive candidate interviews, you can watch them on our YouTube page at PGCTV online.
Don't move, sports fans, because coming right up, some players from the Washington Commanders give insight into their mindsets heading into the 2026 season. That story and more soon. Be right back.
CTV News, your election headquarters for the races that matter most. Tune into CTV News, the only station bringing you exclusive one-on-one interviews with the candidates seeking your vote. From county executive to state's attorney to key county council seats. Hear their plans, priorities, and promises. Get informed, vote informed. Prince George's County election coverage only on CTV News.
This high school gym used to be packed most nights. Not anymore. Do you know why? Because bad behavior by fans, especially adults, has caused a shortage of game officials across the country. You see, without officials, we can't have sports. Don't let this become reality. It's time for a change. Let's bench bad behavior for good.
What's going on, sports fans? It's finally time for your Friday sports page. We begin with some high school news from the hardwood as Maryland native Baba Olatunji seemed like the next big thing to come out of the state. The Montgomery County product is a 5-star recruit and has drawn comparisons to players like Kevin Durant and even Giannis Antetokounmpo. Olatunji is staying local for his college career as he recently committed to playing for Maryland. I recently caught up with Baba's former head coach and Brandon Howe, and he gave his thoughts on how it's been seeing Baba's growth as a player.
It's been great, man. He's a humble kid. He's more about being selfless, thinks about his teammates before himself. He makes everybody better around his team. And, you know, those guys that are coming back, they learned a lot for him.
And sticking with high school hoops, 2 Prince George's County teams will take the court tonight in the Capital Hoops Summer League. Eleanor Roosevelt, who is coming off of a 19-point loss against St. Mary's, is looking to grab their third win of the season against Oxon Hill, who's searching for their first dub of the season. Tip-off is at 7:30, and tune in right here into CTV Sports on Monday because I have some highlights from this exciting matchup waiting for you. Moving on to some news out of College Park, the Terps football team has announced a home-and-home series against Baylor in 2027 and 2028. Maryland will host Baylor for the opening game of the series in September of 2027. And then in 2028, the Terps will travel to Texas to face off against the Bears in Waco. The Bears and Terps have split their two all-time meetings, but haven't faced off against each other since 1956. In other news, it's no secret that the Washington Commanders' 2025 season didn't go as planned. The Burgundy and Gold went from making the NFC title game in 2024 to not even making the playoffs in 2025, finishing the season at 5-12. Now, injuries and a bad defense played a big part in Washington's regression last season, and players touch on their mindset as they head into the 2026 season.
There is a little bit more fire under our ass when it comes to being out here. I think the intensity is definitely ramped up for sure, which is good. You need that. And so I think when it comes to that, it's just going to make us better at the end of the day.
It left a bitter taste in my mouth from last year and just how everything played out. So you kind of just go in that off season and just figure out ways to mentally get better physically and emotionally and everything. So I was just going out there and just, kind of just staying out the way and just focus on what I can focus on, control what I can control.
Every year is a different year, so the standard has to be recaptured from the jump. The focus has to, you have to refocus yourself going into a new season, whether you have a good year, whether you have a down year, it doesn't really matter because every team is different than the one previous. So for us, it's just how can we form the best bond possible right now, so that way when it comes to later in the season, we're not worried about any potential cracks in culture. We're not worried about did we have a good foundation set in the offseason.
Washington wrapped up the first part of OTAs today. The Commanders will resume on June 2nd. And switching gears to news from the major leagues, the Baltimore Orioles fell to the Toronto Blue Jays in a low-scoring game yesterday, losing 2-1. Baltimore will look to bounce back in Game 2 of the series tonight at 7:05. Meantime, the Washington Nationals will face off against the San Diego Padres tonight at home. First pitch is slated for 6:45. And wrapping up sports, the Washington Mystics will host the Los Angeles Sparks tonight. Tip-off is at 7:30. And that wraps up your Friday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports. Have a good weekend, everybody.
All right, thank you, Simon. Now let's take a look at our 3-day weather forecast tonight. It'll be nice and clear if you're heading out for some Friday night festivities. Tomorrow will be sunny with a high of 72. Sunday will be just as nice and we'll have a high of 74 and a low of 57. Monday will be even warmer when we hit a high of 78 degrees.
And if you're looking for something fun to do tomorrow night, Joe Claire and Friends presents a comedy and go-go edition of the Bangin' and Bowie comedy series. Get a good laugh while vibing out to the tunes of the Plug-In Band, plus the sound of the city and DJ Two-Tone Jones. Doors open at 6 p.m. and showtime is at 7. For tickets or more information, visit bowiecenter.org.
And do you have a story to tell? You can reach out to our CTV News tip line.
Give us a call at 301-386-4085, or you can send an email to ctvnews@pgctv.org. As always, we look forward to hearing from you.
Our time is up, and we certainly thank you for yours for letting CTV News into your living rooms.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again Monday. Have a good night.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. The moment I chose hope was when I couldn't look myself in the mirror anymore. I did not recognize myself. Absolutely. So I'm so proud because I did not think I was gonna make it. And now, I get to call my mom and say I love her. I get to teach my son how to say, Mama, I love you.
Yeah.
So for me, hope in this moment, it is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
Judy.